Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Archdale Expositor. I'm your host, Russ McCullough, coming to you live, well, not from Mint Hill, for a few days. On behalf, as always, for the Archdale Church of Christ, that meets in a facility at 2525 Archdale Drive in Charlotte, 28210. We will next assemble Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. for a Bible study. Hope and pray you can be there. And of course, we are here somewhere. I'll tell you when I get back. For the Archdale Expositor. And we've been talking a lot about lately this subject is so very important, and that is, what is biblical study? What is biblical teaching? What is biblical preaching? It is referred to generally speaking as expositional study, expositional teaching, and expositional preaching. It is definitionally Bible-centric. All teaching begins and ends with the Bible, and everything in between the beginning and the end is Bible. It is, as we have defined it, expository study, expository teaching, expository preaching is the examination of Scripture in its theological, historical, and cultural context. There is no separate or multiple meanings to Scripture. It's the meaning, period. There's no ancient meaning and modern meaning. There's no BC meaning and AD meaning. There's no Jewish meaning and Christian meaning. It's meaning. Every passage has a meaning. And we talk about this meaning being a text within its proper context. And different texts are discovered in different ways. We talked about genre is very important, that you cannot understand poetry by looking at it the same way that you understand biography or history. You can't understand wisdom literature the way you understand the apocryphal literature, such as Ezekiel, Daniel, and Zechariah, and Revelation. They're different forms of literature. You have to look at them different. You have to understand them different because they're different genres. We understand this. We understand this because, well, frankly, we are looking at apples and oranges if we do. And so we've been using as a text for our study the just very fine work of Brother Tom Holland. As far as I know, it's the only textbook among us that examines expositional preaching. It's called Preaching Principles and Practice. I urge you to find you a copy and just Google it out and see what you can find. They're not that expensive, but they are a little hard to find because apparently it's out of print. And so we've been talking about approaches to Scripture. One is biblical and one is anything but. The biblical approach to Scripture is what we defined as linear or direct interpretation. And essentially, the linear approach, or as Brother Holland calls it, the historical approach to Scripture, is essentially the Bible means what it says what it means within its context. It's primarily defined by the book that it's in and the purpose that book serves. And within that book, there are a number of passages that have beginning and ending points. These beginning and ending points are discovered by transitional words that we can understand that there's a break. In other words, now, therefore, for, and any number of transitional words that we can discover where the text and the context begin and end. And we can discover the purpose of any particular context by going and observing what is just taken place prior to it. And then we can understand its application by looking at what follows after it. This is called the linear approach to Scripture, as a line that goes from question to answer. But there's another form of biblical interpretation that is erroneous and false. Brother Holland refers to this as the new approach. Well, the new approach is the old approach. It's what we might call allegorical interpretation or circular interpretation. The end of circular interpretation or allegorical interpretation, or the new approach to Scripture, or the Hebraic method, whatever you want to call it, never seeks an answer. It's just a continuous dirge of questions. Never any answers. This was formulated by the Jewish teacher Philo of Alexandria, where he decided that hidden meanings, which, by the way, a hidden meaning can never be definitional. It's always speculative. It can't be anything other than that. The Scripture is all about linear interpretation. In other words, revelation. God is going to reveal truth. The new approach, or the allegorical approach, or the circular approach, says that there's never an answer. And hey, the answer is not what we're looking for anyway. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in this morning. Please like the video and share it on your own platforms, please. This terrible concept of ignoring what's plainly stated and then searching for something that is hidden can never be definitional, because one man's hidden truth is another man's foolishness. And God's not hiding anything. His scripture is plainly stated and is to be plainly received. The Philo began this business in the first century BC, passed it along to ostensibly Christian patriarch Clement of Alexandria, who then taught it to its permanent advocate, Origen of Alexandria. Origen popularized the allegorical method to the point where it dominated the second century church into apostasy and has been the foundation of every false, quote, Christian, end quote, denomination ever since. It's all based on speculation, not revelation. It's all based upon continuous questions with no answers. It's based upon hidden meanings that no one can discover and cannot be discovered universally. It's a hodgepodge of individual foolishness. And this is illustrated by the greatest, I use that term sarcastically, allegorist or new approach guru of the 21st century, man by the name of Brian McLaren. He's an agnostic parading around as a cleric. And he had great influence earlier in the century among churches of Christ as he was trotted out to Pepperdine, Abilene, and Lipscomb, where his views were widely not only accepted but applauded. He was on the marquee of many a popular study, if we can use that word, on these campuses. And it's a theology of never-ending questions. There was a young man, I am told, that was interviewed after going to a McLaren conference and was asked, well, did you learn anything new? The answer says, no, I didn't learn anything at all, except how to ask better questions. You can see how this concept is circular in its nature. A circular theologian is like a gerbil on a wheel. He just goes around and around in circles and never gets anywhere. Because that's not his aim. He's not trying to get anywhere. He doesn't want an answer. He just enjoys the ride. This new approach, as Brother Holland calls it, is nothing more than theological entertainment. And you don't even have to be a Christian to get on the ride. Like Brian McLaren, you can be an agnostic, not even believe in heaven, not even believe in judgment, not even believe in the hereafter. It's crazy. But that is where we are in the 21st century. What's it going to be? Are we going to be literalist? Or are we going to be circularist? Is the scripture plain or is it hidden? Are there multiple truths or is there the truth? Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except by me. That's definitional. Well, thank you, friends. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Lord willing, here on the Archdale Expositor. We'll see you then. God bless you.